on the air. I'm not on the air. I'm on the electron. Oh, robots, the electron is the intelligence. Live long and prosper. Okay, so you got a little problem, huh? I could label it, I'm not even going to go there. It's like you got an interesting little development with your complex derivatives. Now, this starts to leave banking or even economics and starts to get into cosmology. Now, okay, what we're dealing with is economic instruments. Now, this kind of economic instrument is what a lot of people love to refer to as evolution, and it seems to evolve. But basically what's happening is, if you understand the link up with this stuff, it's come upon into being with the advent, principally with the advent of computation. I'm an artist. I'm used to living on like no bugs at all most of the time. So my economics is a whole different thing because money isn't everything. So this is where everybody switches off. But no, I understand you guys have got to pay bills and you've had this horrible thing going on. I had a chance to get out to see. Before it happened, I was, I had a kind of premonition about it. So I boogalooed on out to the middle of the country where they were building luxury housing for $350,000 each, which is probably a big bargain compared to like California stuff. Okay, now what we need to do is coordinate this so you guys don't go broke all the time. That's like, I care, you know. Like, if we step back, look at it all. We want to start from the beginning, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to cut to the chase here. Regardless of all the studies and the complexity and all this, the basic simple thing is, and this is something, you guys don't understand with the stuff, the baggage you pick up with education, is that what happens is it is an offshoot or spur development of computation. So what you're dealing with here is you're not able to pin down an asset for what it is. Okay. You're not able to pin the asset. Now you probably have a good economic term for that. Probably, because these derivational economic instruments tend to aberrate into little spurs of details. So let's cut to the chase here. What you've got here is you have human beings trying to do what a computer does best. So you need to get the bookkeepers out of there and put in an economic engine. Now, Mr. Greenspan, his mentor, and they had an approach that the market is able to regulate itself. That's partially there. from my end, the aspect is, and I knew this since I was, let's see, about 5 years old. Things, the economics tends to keep itself in trim, you know. But we'll get into that later. But here's where we're going with this. These computers, and you know, even handheld. You know, I don't even have. I've got a Nokia. I don't even have a Razr, one of these new ones, a BlackBerry or any of this other stuff. But now they're already using iPads and navigational cockpits in the jets. They're finding out they don't have to bring in paper maps. Probably would be a good idea to keep paper up there anyway. You know, just to keep it. But, you have to worry about these jets. If both the pilots and the co-pilots iPad fails, they can just fly down, pop up the extra struts, not the struts, but the extra, you know, these new Boeings and I think Airbus, everybody, they're actually biplanes. They can actually become biplanes in a way. They can get extra lift by changing the wing structure, which I thought was pretty cool. They're starting to get the hang of it. Okay, so what we've got here is, this is something that has to be done on a computational level. So you gotta open your doors. You know, the brokers and the economists have got to scoot over and let the computers be shared with the computer scientists. You have to devise a search engine, and once you have the appropriate search engine in place, this is an economic search engine, so what it does is not only does it locate the derivative in flux, buddy, piece of cake for a search engine, but now also it attributes value to it. Now once you have the statistic of the investment, the status of the investment, and the value of the investment in various aspects, the comparative value, the intrinsic value, and other things that can be sign values. The problem is over. You know, you're looking at getting Shearson leaning back on, you know, come on boys, come on back. It was like, don't jump. We love you. You have talent. It's like, you know, Citibank, heck, Bank of America, which I call the Spank. Actually, it's provided. You got to know human nature has a dark side. You know, don't expect, you know, the flashlight turned into a lightsaber there. You know, so you're going to have the ups and downs because people will try to hustle. You know. Now, I could say the market takes care of itself, but man, I don't know. This is not my bag. But you need to hook this up to the search engine. Now, what you need to do is get one of those. Get a big hub going. Start those banks, memory banks. Start getting your terabytes, buddy. Start getting your terabytes. Start plugging in your hubs. I'm gonna call it hub up. And now you got no problem. You see, all right. This is as sure as the law of nature, the law of gravity, the laws of physics. Once there is an indisputable value, it cannot go south, as it were. Okay? Intrinsic value, you know. And hey, we're primitive. It's like the planet of the apricots. You know, next thing, you know, that astronaut comes in and says, "Oh my God, they're jumping around." Well, look, pull your head together and get back out there, because there's a whole bunch of little pop and jack recessions coming up. You know. So, and you know what? Education is, you say it's a good thing, I'm saying, say what? But regardless of opinion, in order to really make all this stuff work, all of these things, education is not enough, buddy. You have to have visionaries. You have to have geniuses. You have to have visionaries. You know, you cannot have a society that destroys your visionaries. You know, like, you want, what do you want? I worked with a genius once at the airport, for crying out loud. He was the one that taught me local running. You run the suitcases from the jet to the, you know, the checkout to the, I always had trouble with that name, what they call that place, the carousels. And you get it there within 5 minutes. Well, the guy was an inventor, a genius, a scientist. He would come in late, and they fired his butt. But you know, that's your visionary out there, snagging suitcases from a jet. You know, I've met others. You know, they're garage mechanics, they're teachers, they're this, they're that. You've got an establishment that takes your visionaries, your geniuses, washes them down to, you know, you have a way of what do you call it, cheapening your resource here. Look, the first thing you want to do in order to have a successful market is to establish your psychological resources, your intelligence resources. You know, I mean, these guys, you know, you can go ahead and have your, you know, your butt-kissing little pecking order going on. That's, you know, that's a failing of human nature. It's going to happen. But you better make sure that you find every one of your geniuses and every one of your visionaries. And sometimes they're you got a visionary that's like a Forrest Gump, Bubba Gump shrimp. I know that's fiction, but you see what I'm trying to say. Because otherwise, you're sassafras, buddy. Just like you did before. This whole thing failed. Now, what you need is your search engine, you know, your computational device. And the reason why this thing is failing is because, okay, everybody says it should be policed, it should be backed up, I don't know about that. I would tend to say yeah. But basically what's happening is you've got a human beings in there. Say a human being is blocking the computational flow. Now what you do is you have the human being not blocking it, but it goes like that, the flow goes like that, and they watch it as it goes through in real time. And I don't mean just the big board. Now you have to assume the New York Stock Exchange and the London and everybody else that hangs saying the all ordinaries. The Japanese one I forgot, but you have to assume it to be primitive. Say, okay, we need to go from there. Okay, now we're talking 500, 800 trillion. Boys and girls, stop thinking trillions. You guys have got to get your head out of the trillion pavilion. So, well, what's the next one up? Next one up is quadrillion. You know, then was it quintillion? Even I don't know. I mean, kids, we don't know how to count yet. We're thinking million. Forget million now. All right. So the first step. Once you get the cruncher up there, and something the size, I know you probably already have something up there. I'm not privy to this, but you've got to have something like thousands of times bigger than that. Something like a 1,000 times bigger than Google itself. You know. Get the stock exchange out of the antique building, for God's sake. That is so 20th century, man. It's like a big deal. Might as well get it out of New York City. I don't know where to jam that thing. It's probably some, I don't know. So the thing is, what you've got to do is get that search engine going. And the search engine will be able to establish, just pull in all that derivative stuff and change this thing to what human beings are calling toxic. It's not toxic. Toxic is, like dioxin at the love canal. What we're talking about is something that happened on computers faster than human beings could keep track of it. So you've got a bunch of human beings who have pushed the other people down with their shruggy mentality. You know, what is a shruggy? A shruggy is somebody who is painted as being a model of efficiency, and really they're totally incompetent. They can't even do their own laundry with a laundry mower. Okay, so you need computational power first. You say, well, we already had that. No, you didn't already have it. You haven't even tried it. You've got to go way beyond this. You know, way beyond. And then when you get the search engine going, it can trace the derivative history. And it's not a toxic asset. It is an actual functional asset in real time. It is what do you call fluid? But fluid is like water, pouring water. We've got something else. This is more like a lightning bolt. This is like arc conductivity. It's arcing. Let's call it arc. It's an arc spark. This thing is like going through at a predetermined path that changes constantly. It follows grounds. It's doing this electrical thing. It has an electric matrix without even a circuit up there. And what happened is, you guys, it probably didn't fail. It might not even be a failure. It is saying, oh, these guys let us down, blah, blah, blah. Greenspan was out there saying, I was totally wrong. Well, it couldn't possibly. He tried at first to get the complexity. But you see now, the thing about Greenspan is, it's got a very, very, his mind is functional, somewhat similar to, shall we say, Einstein and others. And you got the electricity working there. The human being itself in there can't even follow it, because electricity has this, I could say it's got a mind of its own. And so, but I can step back as an artist and see this visual forming out here. And I got up at 4 this morning and I took a look and wait a minute. No, forget the bad guys. You know? Forget the good guys. This is just what happened is the human being emulated the flow of electricity here, and the derivatives are now doing a computation type thing. It's self-computational. It's a burgeoning computational a computational victory. Now this thing is snowballing up the hill because you've got a hypercane pushing it. It's like you've never seen anything like this before. You go with it, and you got your surfboard on a tsunami there, kid. Look, it's like yeah, forget quadrillion. That's like I would say, hey, 3 quadrillion. It's not bad. It's like, what's that? It's like, you got 500 trillion. Get it? How much? Let's get out of quadrillion. Let's go. I'm going to take you to decillion. Now go ahead and Google it, decillion, and then let's go for quintillion. That isn't even an official term yet, because people have not counted that big. I mean, look, if we can go ahead and touch this derivative thing with the visionary aspect we need, it's like, give me another cup of coffee. What you got in this coffee? And get away from it.
Well, I have more education than you. You shut up. You can't tell me anything.
No. And you're going to see the toxic waste the government bailed out would be enough to wipe out the national debt a couple of 1,000 times. And the thing is, the rich guys are paupers. That's the whole one I'm telling you. And you've got these. Look, I can't get into that. I don't want to lose my audience. I got like thinking, oh, I think I see one person out there. I can't do it. Yeah, I mean, you want to give me a team, put something together. But, your visionaries are out there working. These guys are overachievers. Once you start stereotyping them into cattle, my God, maybe even the cattle are smarter than that. Then you've lost your visionaries. You've lost your geniuses. That's what's happening in the United States. And I think it's human nature, so it's going on all over the world. So I can tell you what, the country that goes through all of these places, every town, checks up on the kids, follows the kids as they grow up, and says, look, Nancy, we saw you doing those pictures. We saw you here today. We want you to just come over here and we'll give you a job in the, stock exchange. Look, Billy, that's cool, but I mean, so I don't know how you're going to do it, but you have to culture your genes. You can't just have education, the magic bullet. It doesn't exist. There is no such thing as a free launch. You can quote me on that. You need to go out there, dig out these people who are geniuses, and quit trying to cram them into like being a local runner at the airport, running baggages, running suitcases, tossing, or snagging carts at the mart or some other thing. You've got to have your visionaries or your geniuses. I think what happened is before people abuse their freedom, they take freedom away from everybody else. Oh, that's happened in America, blah, blah, blah. Well, look, it's no conspiracy theory. It's a basic understanding of human nature. Before that happened, boom, you had a little, one fleeting moment. You had Jesse went and Mach 2, people landed on the moon. Well, you can still do that again, but the thing is, you need a basic understanding of your limitations. One of the severe limitations is this terrible character assassination thing that's been going on. That is the epitome. The epitome of this last crash was character assassination in all ways. And then they're resurrecting this poor little lady who stood up and said, no, you got to police these guys. She's right. However, the other guys were right in their own way, but not right enough. Not right enough to right the ship. That stuff is still out there. They're floating out there. You get the search engine together, you'll be able to trace the history. You will be. That's how it works. Now I could get into a bunch of other things. I think we'll let it go. I'm just going to summarize this up. Even something the size of a Google search engine. I'll tell you what, if the United States government wanted to have, you've got the Republicans, the Democrats, and their loggerheads. One of them says, look, you police this too much, you're going to be a wet blanket. The other one says, oh, you got to be kidding me, you got to make sure we don't get the crims in there. Last time that happened, we, had a disaster. Well, even before they went criminals are brilliant people. A lot of them are pretty stupid. But anyway, what you've got to do, the government would get on it and start tracking these derivatives. I'm pretty sure at this point, you might think, oh, Paul, you're just showing your ignorance. Hey, don't blame me, man. I have all these disabilities. The college figured I didn't deserve to get an education, except I could have stayed in the art school, except Uncle Sam wanted me for what? Either the Vietnam conflict or, to protect the world from the domino collapse, or was it just to line the pockets of some poor aberrant bunch of people who thought armament production needed a stimulus? Probably neither one. It's probably something in the middle. So what we're telling you, the government could do the search engine thing. Where you got a compromise situation. You're not policing. You're not policing. What you're doing then is you're doing this the Greenspan notion of letting the market take care of itself. So you're allowing the market to discipline itself by tracing those derivatives electronically in the search engine. And I think what you'll find is they have not gone south. The only thing that's gone south is a lot of properties have depreciated. But we're not even talking depreciation here. Depreciation is a surfactus, spuriosity. What we're talking about is intrinsicianata, the intrinsic. Now what you got here is you don't have the house falling apart with people squatting in it. You've got the land the house is on. You've got not a surface, you have down underneath. You have everything. It's intrinsic. So I'm thinking, at this point, you get the engine together, track those derivatives, you'll find out instead of being toxic, they'll end up going from about 500 trillion, which is like, that's not unbelievable, buddy. That's reasonable. That makes sense, that it would be like that. It would jump up like that with the ability to computate the value. So you'll probably find out that it's going to go on to 800 or 900 quadrillion, and then maybe octillion, I think it is, or novillion, or maybe let's get into decillion here. And the government found itself having to bail out these banks. I don't know if it got rid of its assets yet, but you may find out the government owns enough assets to pay off the debt and to rescue every failed state on the face of the earth. Piece of cake. We are in a flow of electrons through the universe. The mind is a part of it. I'm looking at these little ants here. There's a tiny little pygmy ants on the tabletop. I don't know if you can see those little babies. Look at them go. Those guys. I'll tell you what. You go ahead and do that search engine, and you're going to up the ante. You see how that little ant is moving around, looking for food on the tabletop? They have little minds going. It's the electron. That's what I'm telling you. Oh, robots. The electron is the intelligence. Now, we're going to harness the electron to serve man. It's better than that. It's going to be a symbiotic cooperation of man with the universe. You're going to find out that instead of, you're going to be conserved. You're not going to waste things, but at the same time, there's more than enough for everybody. There's this abundance in the universe. Flow of abundance, man. So let it flow. It's like, it's not the end of the world yet. You guys got to be a lot richer than this before the world's going to end. So I thought I'd help you out. I don't know if this is going to do you any good, but I mean, get the engine together. Hey, send me an email. I'll help. I don't need it. But, the whole thing is, regardless of people's theories or their political beliefs or opinions, everybody needs to be financial. So we can agree on that. All right, on that note, bye.